Quick ladder announcement. All land battles with caps games fought on the bot will now count for Dov ladder, regardless of series or pick length. That change has now been applied live, so come check it out. Skarsnik has pretty much always been in contention as one of the best lords for the Greenskins, and certainly the changes to Enrage made him probably the meta lord, at least in a number of matchups. I would say largely he's better than the War Boss, Night Goblin War Boss, mainly because he's tankier. He does have anti-large, charge defense, decent amount of HP at 6,600. Of course, he's got that fermented fungi that makes the Goblin Lords meta with that rampage and melee defense debuff. Also got an AoE anti-large effect with extra weapon damage, all of which very applicable against the Ogres, of course. A large faction with many big bodies to cut through, so that anti-large bonus definitely going to come in handy. And Gojira here, the rest of his build, there's going to be some Spider Riders. We've got Orc, Boarboy Biggins, and Goblins as a front line here. River Troll Hag and the Swamp Things with some Rusty Errors and regular Night Goblin Archers, a big mess of cavalry over here as well. Boarboy Biggins, of course, more anti-large from cavalry, and Spider Riders with some Mangy Marauders, those Wolf Riders, a Regiment of Renown. As for the Ogres, we do have a Regiment of Renown here as well. It's the Stonehorn, the Snowhorn of Morn. Yes, so many Orns. Feeling very ornery, to be honest, but the Glacial Defense, of course, gives it some extra missile resistance and armor. It'll shrug off some of that Daka. Of course, it's got Frostbite as well. The rest of the build here, we've got another Stonehorn with a Hunter mounted on it. He's got anti-large javelins to throw, and that Bang Stick AoE damage ability. A couple of guns here. It looks like a Lead Belcher and Powder Guts with some Bulls, and a front line of Gnoblars. With, yeah, some Saber-Tusk packs also waiting in the wings here to ambush those Wolf Riders. Wolf Riders, of course, do have Strider. I don't believe, yeah, Saber-Tusk packs do not, so running through the woods, the Spiders will be able to escape that. Due to their Strider, they can cut through the woods without suffering any debuffs. Unlike other large targets, you can see Gojira just kind of advancing on all fronts here. His opponent is the Gentle Rat, who did win last weekend's competition. I don't have anything lined up for this weekend, and unfortunately, real life just absolutely beat me in the face this week. But should have something lined up. I'd for sure have something lined up for next week. Should be very exciting. Gonna be announcing that soon. But yeah, big melee engagement getting underway. Swamp Things charging up in the center. The Terror is going to be very essential for both sides here, honestly. Both sides relying on low leadership of the opponent and having spells to kind of exploit that here. We've got Lore of Death, which of course has access to Doom and Darkness, which it does look like Gojira's brought here. A little extra Spirit Leech on those bulls to help speed them. Meanwhile, the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw also has a spell you don't see too much, Brain Gobbler. Just to check here, does not get an area of effect on Overcast. It's only ever a single target, but still can be good for situationally like routing a high-value Greenskins unit that might not have the best leadership. Here in the back line, some of these Spider Riders being caught and massacred by Gnoblars and Bulls. Here also in the center, these Boarboy Biggins get frostbited, Brain Goblin terrified away. It's an absolute disaster for them. Archers on the follow-up are here, but getting a little bit distracted, shooting some other targets. The Stonehorns, of course, with their extra base missile resistance, to be honest. They're going to be very tanky against the bows of the Goblins there, but should be able to still get some damage in with high volume as long as they're able to stay protected. Gojira's doing a great job kind of working the back line here. You can see all of his cavalry are here kind of cycle charging, taking some damage, but also doing some damage in return, certainly. Swamp Thing's getting in the center. Spider the Bad Moon there to get some extra anti-large as they face off against the Snowhorn. Try and get some extra damage in there. A little bit more Spirit Leech also on these Bulls. Just to try and get them off the field as fast as possible. Try and thin out that support, but the Goblin support's definitely taking some damage. Spider Riders, in many cases, have been absolutely massacred. They were largely kind of mobile meat shields here, to be honest, for the Boars to be able to get in there. Now this, with the WA active, Rogue Tusk Mob get in and just absolutely gut these Lead Belchers. Those big stickas pointing in the bellies. It's not a good time for the Ogres. But at least the Stonehorn's here to somewhat stabilize the situation, although certainly cannot stop those Lead Belchers from being severely killed, can definitely punch back and try and get some revenge on the broken tusk bob there, although more boar boys lurking. Even savage orc boar boys with higher charge bonus, still anti-large, and that physical resistance. They're going to be getting another follow-up charge here. Nope, looks like they swing on to rear charge to Powder Guts, currently engaged with the Swamp Things. Meanwhile, the Snowhorn trying to get into the archers here and pressure Rusty Airs. Were saved by a fermented fungi there. You might have seen off the corner of your screen. Some Spirit Leech also, as Skarsnik and the River Troll Hag move into combat against the Snowhorn. Of course, the River Troll Hag's not the best combatant in the world, but certainly she can help, especially when supporting Skarsnik. They can go 2v1 versus some pretty big and scary stuff. I mean, of course, Skarsnik doesn't have immune to psychology. He's a goblin, so he's relatively low leadership. You do have to be a little bit careful not to let him duel too many terror-causing things, you know, without proper support. But obviously, with that anti-large and decent health pool, you can definitely stand and fight with these big monsters. Okay. Over here on the far side, though, Swamp Things suffering from trollish leadership. Of course, they're immune to psychology since they cause terror, but they do have their leadership just standard reduced here by that spell. Hit and surrounded by a number of different Ogre units here. Powder Guts getting close to their healing cap, as Ogres have dedicated a lot of resources to healing them, but a nice rear charge by those Savage Orc Boar Biggins once more. Yeah, getting in there, helping to support their non-Savage Boar Boy brethren. And it's looking pretty grim for the Ogres there, although the Powder Guts, they're passive, basically meaning that they get harder to kill as they're losing, which is just so insanely strong. Going to make them quite difficult to kill in that engagement. Meanwhile, over here, the Rusty Airs Night Goblin Archers continuing to take pressure, but this is drawing the Stonehorn significantly away from any supporting units. Likewise, we see a few in the distance there, Noblars and Bulls that overchased on some routing goblins significantly and managed to get themselves sort of out of the vision of Gentle Rat here, which definitely can happen. That's definitely happened to me, certainly before, units kind of going into tactical reserve, so to speak. But anyway, River Troll Hag getting in here. Again, if the Stonehorn were to just to turn and fight, he'd probably do okay fighting here, but he's got all these goblins still pressuring to shoot in the back, plus Skarsnik lurking nearby. Not necessarily the best situation, but it's going to be hard to get away as the River Troll Hag just gets absolutely launched there. That would be a nice opportunity I'd probably take to run the Hunter up this direction, try and unify and keep these two Stonehorns fighting together as much as possible, because out here in this back area, like, yes, he's able to pressure these goblins and continue to do so, but now with the one sort of Noblar that was helping shattered, this other Noblar also distracting done, the goblins, Greenskins, are going to be able to marshal a lot of resources. Mostly goblins, to be honest. I don't know. Are there any orcs in this build? Well, I guess the boars, yes. They're mostly dead now. Also having been caught out sort of without support there. So both sides consolidating somewhat. Let's fast forward through this phase a little bit. Another fermented fungi there on the Hunter as he gets into melee. You can see there, 1v1 against Skarsnik. He's actually a pretty good match, but once the other forces show up, he's going to want to skedaddle on out of there, which he does. Managing to survive, perhaps. Ooh, maybe these mangy marauders can get through. They did not get hit by that dismember. Nope, they did. In fact, everything here dismembered, meaning they cannot close. Speed significantly debuffed. But let's see. Damage value-wise, they're basically neck and neck, although Ojira having a little bit more sort of passive healing in his build with the Swamp Things. Although, I don't know, I guess a lot of active healing also. You see another Troll Guts upgraded there. On the Slaughtermaster himself, interesting. I don't know if that was necessarily a mistake, if he misclicked it on the Slaughtermaster, or if he meant to put that perhaps on the Hunter, because a lot of that healing is going to be wasted on the Slaughtermaster as he kind of overheals himself somewhat. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a possible mistake there. If he had been able to get it on this Stonehorn Hunter, that definitely would have changed things, being able to get so much HP out of that big single entity. But he's still there, and the Snowhorn's also closing, so certainly anyone's game still, but terror from the Swamp Things kicking in on some of these supporting bulls. They get routed off. The Swamp Things, just such a great choice for the Greenskins. Cheapest terror-causing units. They also have that really nice melee attack debuff. Certainly helps Greenskins units, who generally have low melee defense. Helps them survive a little bit longer in combat, but dueling this other monstrous infantry regiment around here, and the Snowhorn, they're definitely a little bit out of their depth, but plenty of boars and other cavalry, mangy marauders charging in here to support. Hunter, Stonehorn finally getting broken and finished off, most likely. Yep. Down to 68 HP. His volley should do it, and down he goes. So yeah, unfortunate. Again, I'm not sure. Gentle Rat will have to let us know down in the comments below. Maybe that was a misclick on the Troll Guts. If not, probably would have been better to hit that Stonehorn with it. And if it was a mistake, I mean, I definitely feel for you. Happens to me. Again, happens to the best of us, but still. Even with that as it is, he's got a decent chance here. The one thing, trying to like YOLO charge Skarsnik, I might shoot these Bulls and Nobblars out to just try and finish off these Archer units. Rusty Arrows in particular, providing that Sundered Armor debuff. It's not going to be crazy impactful, but certainly will help later on in the game, and just the leadership damage even of the Bulls there. Yeah, I might have tried to charge them back, but it looks like Gojira's going to use that Fermented Fungi once more. Get them enraged and debuffed so they can get shot up by the Archers and killed by Skarsnik in melee. All while the Trolls and what's left of the Boars and the Infantry Goblins even hanging around. We're going to get in here and distract the Stonehorn, Slaughtermaster, keep them pinned in place. These supporting Bulls, 116 kills on them, have to say. Decent value for sure, and very cost effective. Swamp Things route once more. They're getting pretty close to their healing cap. If they don't get shattered here, there's a good chance they could get to it. We'll have to see. There's a lot of HP to get through on this Snowhorn here. Not to mention the Slaughtermaster himself. So let's fast forward slightly through this endgame cleanup phase as the Archers begin to focus fire. And here is where I think again, maybe not pushing those Bulls and Nobblars back to try and finish off these units is going to come back to haunt them big time. Despite the missile resistance and everything else of the Snowhorn, definitely just doesn't want to be taking that high-ish volume. I mean, only 32 models left for the regular, or sorry, the Regiment Renown. The regulars still have a decent amount of ammunition left. They actually choose to spend it, though, firing at the Bulls, trying to get rid of them. While that's happening, we see that Skarsnik and the River Troll Hag were able to just beat up the Slaughtermaster pretty severely. Snowhorn being heal capped, can't receive any more healing, of course. And being isolated as it is, it's going to be finally dragged down and finished off there by Greenskins. Yeah, the Slaughtermaster will come back for one more go, but unfortunately for him, it's not quite enough. That will be game. So Gojira pulling out a very close win. Honestly, damage values were neck and neck right up until the end, really. But definitely was able to prevail there with Skarsnik and the River Troll Hag combining to a very respectable 1,800 value each. Some beautiful symmetry there. 1,900 on the Swamp Things, 2,000 on the Broken Tusk Mob there. Orc Boar Boy Biggins, a little bit risky sometimes. I mean, they can just die sometimes, but also one of the best kind of AP anti-large cavalry in the game for the cost. Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins also contribute quite nicely. Love to see the Mangy Marauders also doing quite well. Yeah, Spider Riders, basically glorified mobile meat shields, as I said, but they do the job of letting the other power units get their work done. Speaking of power units, certainly the Regiment Renown here, the Snowhorn, gets a lot of value. The Stonehorn Hunter, I'm surprised actually didn't get more. Interesting. He did get 15,000 total damage dealt, but I guess a lot of that was against some lower value units. The Powder Guts definitely pay for themselves. The Lead Belchers also, Gojira, credit to him. Just a beautiful get there, spotting the vulnerability, being able to get his Boar Boys in there, especially with WA active. Just the burst damage was incredible. Shut them down very quickly, so not a lot the Gentle Rat could do about that. I didn't really highlight the Saber Tusk pack either of the Gentle Rat, but he did a decent job getting them around the flank, chewing on some archers, getting some good value back there. So overall, fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification every time I upload a new video. You'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.